So why talk about another tax reform now? What exactly is this government talking about when we talk about this tax reform they are proposing to us?
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I appreciate this session.
You're welcome, sir.
And this topic is very important for us as people and as Nigerians and citizens of this country. Tax reform is one of the major highlights of this government.
Okay.
Immediately the president came to power, he instituted a committee to look at the tax system in Nigeria and possible reforms that are necessary in order to reposition Nigeria in terms of the fiscal landscape and also to accrue more revenue to government.
Okay.
You would think that Nigeria as a country, many people think Nigeria will be a rich country. We have oil, we have and all these things,
mineral resources
and all these things makes us rich as a country. But if you think about it, 2022 budget, for example, Nigeria spent 96% of its revenue to pay debt.
Wow.
And by 2023, you know that by second half of 2023, subsidy was removed because part of what the government spends on is for subsidy, right?
Okay.
So by mid-year 2023, subsidy left, and in terms of last year's statistics, government spends 74% of its revenue to pay debt. To pay debt. So what other, portion of its revenue would the government use to fund salaries and capital expenditures? So what the government is trying to do is we want to look at how we can get more revenue for government, so that
more money for government
in order to actually fund development in this country. But beyond that, if you think about our tax system in Nigeria, Nigeria has a lot of taxes. We pay many taxes. The federal government collect about 17 taxes. State government collect taxes. Federal government collect many taxes, and they are burdensome for businesses. They are burdensome for manufacturers. I know some of us are very familiar with, even they come to us and say, come and pay radio tax, come and pay television tax, and all of these things. If you think about it, it is still not accruing revenue for government because some people, there are loopholes in the system.
Exactly.
There are loopholes in the system, and government are not even getting these revenues. So part of the aim of government in creating these committees, you also want to stop the multiplicity of taxes. You want to reduce the number of taxes people are paying. You want to make it taxes that it is easy to pay, easy to collect, and
people can feel like paying.
People feel like paying, and we can track it instead of collecting many taxes. And people are collecting. You came today, you collect one tax. You come to us, say there's another tax to pay. Because now they say I have to pay another tax. So government look at, we want to streamline the number of taxes you are paid. It is said that the number of taxes we have currently across all of the federations is like 51 taxes.
Wow. Across
different levels. So they want to streamline it to like having maybe a maximum of 10 taxes, so that we have minimum number of taxes people are paid.
Okay.
And they are easy to pay and we can track it. Despite the fact that we are paying 51 taxes, if you look at statistics, Nigeria in terms of tax to GDP ratio is one of the lowest in Africa itself, take of in the world. Nigeria tax to GDP ratio is like maybe 9.6% as of 2023. Compared to some other countries, even the African average is 16%. The African average in terms of tax to GDP ratio is 16%. So other countries are even far higher than that. Tunisia is about 3.5%. So because of this, government is looking at, we want to reduce the number of taxes. And we want to ensure that when we reduce the number of taxes, people are able to pay it and revenue accrues to government instead of the loopholes we have. And businesses can also breathe well. They can breathe well and they can also be able to run their businesses fair. So that's the government intent when they created this bill. And then, of course, the committee has worked for over a year. It started like in 2023, so August 2023, and this is about 1 year and almost and a half, right? If I'm correct. And they've come out with these bills, about 4 bills, in order to reposition the taxes that we have in this country across various sectors, federal government, state government, and other things like that. So that's the intent with the bill itself. And they have various proposals, various policy propositions for the government, such that, so of course, when we have bills like that, you go through legislative process, go to the Senate, and then after that it's passed, and then people start to follow it. So that is the intent of the bill itself. And if you look at the content of this bill, we can start to look at and x-ray some of it and look at, again, what is the impact of this reform? What is the impact of this?
Let us look at it now. Before going into the impacts, who is expected, or how much income are you supposed to make for you to now be considered taxable in this bill now?
Okay, that's a beautiful question, right? In this bill now, you pay taxes in different form. There are different forms of taxes based on your income. So for example, for businesses, let's look at business for example. For businesses, according to the new bill, the we have covered small businesses and let's say large businesses. So if your revenue, in terms of revenue you get in a year, if it's above 50 million naira, you start paying taxes.
Okay.
At 25%.
Wow.
At 25% of your profit, not of your revenue.
Oh.
So of your profits, after you've taken out your expenses, spent money on, okay, maybe you're a business owner, you're selling some things, you buy your raw materials, you have to take away all of the money you used to buy raw materials. It's on your profit that you pay the tax, not on your not on your expense, not on your revenue, not on your revenue. So that is what the current tax bill is proposing. Let us compare it with the former bill, the former one we are running. We have, based on the former tax system or the current tax system, because it's not already abrogated yet. So we have, it's divided into three.
Okay.
We have small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and large businesses. For small businesses, there are people that have 25 million and below in terms of their revenue, but then they are exempted for taxes.
Oh.
So now it has increased to 50 million. Now, but the thing there is that for the old law, we have another category of people that we call the medium-sized businesses, and their own is from 25 million down to 100 million.
Okay.
But then they pay 20% of their profit as tax.
Okay.
Now, from 50 million now to 100 million, it is not categorized as large companies now based on the new law, right? Yes. Because they would also be paying tax as 25%. Based on the old law, if you are getting 100 million and above, you pay 30% of your income as tax. 30% of your income. That's for people that have businesses, right? That's for people that have businesses. But for other people, for individuals, for example, there's also a tax system you have to pay based on your income. Okay. Right? Maybe for you, you're working in a company now, you said, I mean, people, you pay tax. I was seeing a Twitter thread recently. People are saying, I look at how much they're deducting from me as tax.
Salary as tax.
As tax. Someone was just posting LRS. And they're like, oh, I'm collecting. So you pay taxes to state government on personal income.
Yes, sir.
On personal income. And of course, they have the various thresholds and how it is calculated, right? But the maximum at you pay is around, let's say, even at the effective tax is like 21% or 22% for people, right? And also that's also being repositioned, right? Normally on personal income tax, if you're earning below 30,000 naira, you don't get to pay tax. Now they're increasing it to something around 70,000, right? And there's a way it is calculated. We can let me just take the new proposal of the reform committee is that for your income or your annual income as a person. So when you pay tax on your first 100,000 naira. So if I'm earning 6 million, for example, my first 800,000 naira, I will not pay tax on it. Okay. I will not pay tax on it. Then there's an allowance of 200,000 naira for rent allowance. So you have a gross allowance of, let's say, total allowance of 1 million naira that is non-taxable. So if I'm earning 6 million, 6 million is like 500,000 in a month. So 1 million out of that 6 million is not taxable. I'm not going to pay tax on it. Okay. Then the next one, the first 2.2 million naira, I'm going to pay tax at 15%. Okay. The next 3 million, I'm going to pay tax at 18% or so. So that's how that's the new proposition with the new tax bill. So again, the old tax bill, the old regulations, they also have its own mechanism. But again, they've modeled this system and see that based on the new system, if you're earning below, let's say, 1.5 million naira in a month, you'll be paying lesser taxes with the new system. Okay. You'll be paying lesser. So it means that, I mean, for a lot of people, many people in Nigeria, let's say 80% of people, 90% of people, they don't even end up to that. So it means that for 90% of people, you'll be paying lesser taxes with the new system. Because if you're earning 1.5 million and above, you'll be paying lesser taxes to government. But if you are now earning above that, you'll be most likely paying higher taxes to government. So if you look at all of these things, you see that government is trying to see that we want to reduce the tax burden for people. Okay. And we also want to ensure that this tax system, we want to reduce number of taxes we are paying. Okay. So these are some of the propositions with this new tax bill. Like I mentioned earlier, they want to reduce multiplicity of taxes. Okay. Now they are reducing it to about 10 taxes that people will be paying now, maximum, instead of the many taxes that people pay currently. So these are part of the propositions.
So is it about bringing reforms in who pay tax, how to pay tax? Is it not to be more about the leakages when people pay this tax? Because, quote and unquote, you see both the FRS, LRS officials where they do their tax valuation for company, and you see some kind of level of corruption, and the money does not even get to the government cover. I think that was what about the last single treasury accounts.
Yeah.
But still, if you look at the kind of money that is out there, assumably the government is supposed to see from tax, and the kind of money they return, even though FRS will claim that they meet up their targets. But in real data, you realize that even the target is way more than that if they truly bring all the money back to government. So is it worth paying tax when you know that the money is not even getting to the government coffers? Now that now takes us to the question of why pay tax when people are not seeing the dividends of the payments?
Again, there are two questions here, right? So the first question is around the loopholes in the tax system, right? Again, Nigeria, we run a self-assessment tax system. So what it means is that I would go and declare what I have to pay as tax. That's what we run normally.
Okay.
So if you have declared the right taxes, even when FIRS come with their normal torchlight system and say, okay, let me look at what you have done. Have you done the right thing? They will not be able to catch you for anything because you have done the right thing.
Okay.
You have done the right thing, and you will not be able to pay money to when FIRS come. So what happens is most people don't fulfill their tax obligations.
Okay.
They don't pay the right taxes. They are not paying. They have loopholes in their system, right? So the account system and everything like that. So
accumulated
taxes they are not they did not declare to government. They are supposed to pay and they have not paid. So when FIRS come now and say, okay, you're supposed to pay, like, you have not paid these taxes. Now FIRS will now, because these are human systems. So what government is trying to do is, even within this system, part of what this law is doing is that they want to, there's something we call fiscalization of VAT. In terms of VAT is transactional taxes. So if I buy this thing, for example, I pay maybe 7.5% of it, 7.5% on how much of this. If this is 1,000 naira, for example, I pay 750 of it as tax to government, and that will be remitted to government. So government is looking at all of these things. How do we ensure that we are tracking the goods that people have, such that we know the right taxes people are supposed to pay? So this is what technology can help us to do, right? So with those data with government, with technology, can do a lot in terms of, blocking these loopholes, that because these are people, and all of us, we are Nigerians.
Yeah, exactly.
We are Nigerians, and people. There's corruption in the air in Nigeria, to be honest.
Yes.
And there's a limitation of what we can do in terms of some of these things. But I think with technology, a part of what the committee has also proposed, I believe that some of these things can be reduced, but it's not going to be eradicated in total. But some of this, because if FIRS come, you can, these things are, you can negotiate to them, say, I have 1 billion liability, I'm supposed to government, I don't have it. Let me give you 50 million, let me give you 100 million, I'll pay 50 million to government. You get it, and declare some of this. This happens, right? For some people. And this happens. So it's because of the system you have created. But if you yourself, you have paid the right taxes to government, even if you ask, we don't see any liability, because this time you have done the right thing to do. You have paid the right taxes. It's only when you don't pay the right taxes, that's when FIS will come and start saying, you have not paid the right taxes.
But one of the arguments we come up with is the fact that, okay, before now I used to meet up my tax payments and like that, and at the long run there is electricity issue, production is not going right, we're not making right sales for like a year or two. Our income, drop from 100 million to, like, let's say 70 something, 50 something million, and yet you still want me to meet up with my tax payments. Yeah. At what point do you have something like tax evasion or whatever for low performing, or personal assessment from the government, and okay, we are not doing enough for people to meet up to be able to pay their taxes? That is when I talk about what is the dividend. You are not even getting the dividends of tax payments.
Okay, let me first address the part of dividend of tax payment, really. And again, in terms of dividend of tax, again, this is government, and what government does is they try to see that they start to spend the tax in the right system. Again, these are people. If you have the best people in government, they should be able to use our money right to do the best things for us.
Okay.
But the unfortunate thing that we have, especially in Nigeria, is that a lot of our people be elected to office positions, political office positions. They don't have the interest of the people at heart. They are looking for out for their pocket.
Exactly.
And because of that, people feel like I'm not even seeing the dividend of what I'm supposed to get as what I'm paying as tax. Nice. People are concerned about this. But again, if you think about this, so there's a responsibility on the taxpayer and also there's a responsibility of government. We encourage government to ensure that. How do you ensure that? How do you make yourself more transparent? How in terms of the revenue you are getting, such that you are declaring what you are using it for. Do you get it?
Okay.
You are ensuring that people are seeing the dividend of what you are using the money to do. So again, it's a responsibility of government to ensure that. But that does not exonerate us of not saying because government is not doing the right thing. I mean, there are loopholes in government. I'm not going to pay my tax. Where would the money for development come from? Those teachers in public schools, where will they pay them from? Where would the government get salaries to pay them? Those people that are public government officials, where would government see money to pay them?
And what we are saying is even the same officials who are helping to siphon the money they are supposed to put back in the government end. You see, for Nigeria, I can only see the people that are exempted are people that their agencies or institutions are not revenue generated institutions
Yeah, I get that.
that are exempted. Whatever that agencies that is revenue generating, they are corporates in this regard of encouraging or discouraging people payable tax or pay for services that has to do with government issues.
Yeah, I get you, right? Because I mean, in terms of any government agency that is getting revenue, there are always loopholes. There are always many other ways to get money. And again, like I said, these are people. Government, there are institutions, there are systems in place to also checkmate all of these things in terms of EFCC, the ICPC, and other things like that. In terms of when there are corrupt cases, you have to report to them. There are whistleblowing policies that we have in terms of the former government and all of these things. Again, there's continuous encouragement towards transparency. There's continuous encouragement towards the fact that we want people to um we don't want people to be corrupt. But again, these are human systems, and they are bound to be loopholes. Of course, the government has continuous responsibility with technology, which I believe some of these reforms. I mean, they're looking at how we can use technology to track people's revenue and so that they can pay the right taxes. Also, government has to, I mean, show goodwill. Government has to penalize people that are corrupt officials so that other people can learn from it. Other people can really learn from it, because without that, we can't encourage people to pay their taxes, because Nigerians feel like their taxes are not well spent. People are continuously embezzling their taxes. You get it? So again, some of these things, government, their continuous drive for government. I believe the government is also, there are some drives. I mean, there are in terms of EFCC, there are repositioning of these agencies to ensure that they track corruption cases in government.
Now we are talking about tax, and there are a lot of part of the issues that are coming up as the fact that the government should not also you know go into people's someone who has paid their tax all through their life in service, and after their demise the family wants to the little the person could come up with, and already I know for Lagos State there is, if you want to access your deceased wealth or your inheritance in money, you have to pay some certain money to probate for them to be able to help you to file, for you to be able to have access to the money. Yeah, and these are some of the things that people react to. Now, why even at this end still have to pay again to get our money? Yet this person have been paying their tax. Can they be left? Can they be And after paying that money, for them to access the money, the government will now calculate the entire money in the account and charge you 10% of the money again. So why do we have to pay tax even till death?
Again, I mean, the scenario you mentioned, to be honest, I mean, based on my own practice in terms of tax, I mean, I don't know of any legislation that backs that up. Again,
It happens in Lagos.
it happens in
There is
Lagos.
probate.
It would be good to know like what kind of when the law talks about that. But again, with this new tax formula, I've seen people talk about the fact that there's a portion of the place that talks about inheritance tax. But again, it is really grossly misunderstood by people. Because the current provision is already in the personal income tax act, the same provision that people are talking about that talks about inheritance tax. The same wordings is already even in the current tax landscape, and it has never been translated to mean inheritance tax. So what it means is that, for example, if your family has an income, for example, you have a family business. Now, how do you tax that family business? Because normally tax is attributable to people of the company. So they are saying that if the money can be attributable to a person, the business your family is doing, you are going to tax it as a family business. So if I say that our family has this business, for example, and we did this business and have 100 million, it's a family income. So how do we normally there's no basis of saying, I mean, the law is saying we should be able to tax that even if it is a family money. Even if, because normally the law talks about attribute taxes to people, attribute taxes to company and that like that. So the law is saying that so even if it's a family business and you guys have an income of let's say 100 million or anything, and they are not able to attribute it to a particular person. No, even if it is for the family, and it's not separable to individuals, we should tax the money based on the law.
So even though the money is like, let's say my late father have like 10, 50 houses in Lagos. Funny enough, my late father is not even a government worker, maybe a regular businessman who does the work feeding from hand to mouth, and he could make build like 10 houses in Lagos, and the family, they you know, that's our own inheritance. So at the end of every year when we collect rent, we collect surplus of 200 million. So what you are saying that so the government now have the right to now come into that person's that particular account and say, okay, fine, before you can distribute your income annually, you still
tax.
have to pay tax.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So if
Even when the owner of the real estate is written or said to be deceased.
Yeah, because it's an income, right? You guys have gotten income from it. You've gotten entered into 200 million, and then it's family, and you guys want to distribute it. I mean, when you do, before you distribute it, or I mean, well, let's say when you distribute it, or even you don't have to pay tax. But even if you are not distributed, you still be owed some money. Or family, and you guys are saying it's family money, and using it to the family stuff. It should be taxed. That's what the government is saying. That's what the law is saying. So it's not inheritance tax.
That's where the northerners are. No, the people who are raising the issues are saying it to be inheritance tax.
So inheritance is different because inheritance is you share inheritance. So if it's inheritance now, the law is maybe it's to say you guys are sharing the inheritance out of the 100 houses. This person is taking 3 million, this person is taking 3 houses, and taking 4 houses. Now after you guys have shared it, so the tax is known. Okay, if the inheritance like mean that let's say if what it is means by inheritance tax, let's say the value of the houses let's say are 21 million. Government is not saying based on the value I'm going to collect, let's say 200 million out of the cash tax, let's say at 20%. You get it? Meaning, and that can be the value of like 4 hours.
In some family, the father will have said that okay, don't share it, oh, be collecting all the money, then be giving individual salaries or penny out of it.
So what will happen is if they have said how they will share it, the money will tax and the individual hand.
At every time they collect the rent to share.
After it has been shared, it will be taxed in the individual hand based on how much that was given to. But if you guys are not sharing that, they're just keeping to do family work or family thing, it will be taxed also based on the family money that you guys have. You get it? If you are not sharing the money, you're just going to say, family wants to do this, I think to do the family wants to do that, you are going to be more.
And so some people, they're like, that is against their own belief.
No, it's not
because they see it as it's our inheritance. So our father have labored all year to put this thing together. Our father have paid his own tax when he was alive. Even with that, we are collecting the inheritance. We are also still paying tax on our own personal earnings.
So again, that's inheritance. You share the value of the inheritance, but those are the income that you generate from what the person has left.
And that's what they determine to be valued.
No. The value is the asset that
is the asset. They have refused to sell or share individually. They have agreed that let us put this value to money, put it in bank at the end of every year. Let us now at the end of every year, all our rent accumulated to 100 million. Let us now say, okay, fine, everybody collects 10 million. Instead of saying that everybody you take 2 houses, deal with it, whatever we want to deal with it. And mind you, part of the 100 million they are saving every year, they've said that maybe like 20% of that same 100 million to serve as maintenance for the assets. So isn't that still?
So what I'm saying is, so if they have shared the money to let's say 10 people, the money will tax the individual's hand. So if the money that got to me is 10 million out of the money that have been shared, the government will tax it as part of your personal income tax. That's what they tax. You add it to your income for that year, and they will tax based on the rate that
the money that has no receipts. You know, there's somebody has a receipt.
Yes, an income.
Why it is taxed.
It's an income to you for that year. So you get to tax it. You add it to.
So yeah, saying that. So if I give someone on the street a needy money, and I think that kind of money too can be assumed to be taxable.
In what sense? I don't get what.
Like we give zakat in Islam now. And you can look at someone like Dangote, look at one day and say, okay, I want to give zakat out. And Dangote's zakat in a year, I think for those Muslim was I'm saying what I mean by zakat. Zakat is not sadaqa. In a year, my zakat is like, okay, a 50 million. Suppose I know that someone like that, zakat will be accumulating to about hundreds of millions.
What happens to that person is, I mean, someone has given you money, they have donated the money to you, and it becomes part of what you have as your own money, as your personal income for that year. So again, does it get to the threshold of what? I mean, so for example, what do you want to use the money for? If the money accrues to you as a person, if it accrues to you as a person, like and I want to use to do a business, it's the business that will be taxed,
Yes.
and the income for that business that will be taxed. Income for that business.
Because the time is having the money first, it will not be taxed.
It will not be taxed. So it is. So if I'm using that money for that business, and the money that comes out of the business that will be taxed, the profits from that business will be taxed. But if I'm adding it to my wealth, like I'm adding to, I have some money before I add it to my wealth. I'm adding to my wealth. So again, what will happen is personal income. You look at your total income for that year. Maybe you have a rental income, you have other income from many places. That's what they now look at. They look at your salary and everything like that. They now look at what is the rate that's supposed to be paid for tax.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we are going to have to continue the conversation some other time. Mr. Sulaiman, thank you for coming around, and that's how far we could go on the new tax reform bill by the federal government. Inshallah, let us hook up with us to another edition. We will be talking more, collaborating more on another germane topic. Once again, I say someone too. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel for more interesting topics. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening.